Hello, everyone. Welcome to the thing you've been waiting for. Maybe. It's time for the Fairy Tale, the official video game, Spoilercast. I'm your host, KZXcellent of KZXcellent.com, and with me, the only other person here, Mr. Field from Mr. Field's Wild Ride. How's it going?
Everyone else ran away. They all escaped. It's just us.
I kindly offered Dan and Bob to come and sit in, but they threatened to fire me.
Yeah, they weren't too happy about that.
Yeah. Instead, you just have us doing a spoiler cast on the recently released Fairy Tale video game. It's not even a week old. It's a big $60 release. I needed Field to summarize this game in some way, so I'm gonna break tradition and have him do it as if it's a Cursed Content Club. He's gonna give a summary.
Fairy Tale is a 2020 game based on Hiro Mashima's manga and anime of the same name. In this game, what you can call an adaptation is stretched to its limits, as scene after scene is funded by passing a paper cup around Gust, the developer's office. All your favorite scenes are here, delivered as narration over low-resolution screen caps of the anime. Most of the time. So KZ, give me a sound based on your impressions of Fairy Tale, the Fairy Tale.
Yeah, that's my sound.
That's a little bit worse than where I'm at, but it's not much worse.
My sound comes from it because I enjoy the Fairy Tale series quite a bit. I enjoy it for what it's setting out to do, which is popcorn action with almost no substance.
Yes.
But I enjoy its earnestness and what it's trying to do. I enjoy some of the emotional things it shoots for. None of those are in this game at all. They pretend.
This game is so cheap.
Yes!
If you're listening to this and you haven't seen the game at all, you haven't engaged with it at all, imagine the cheapest thing you can imagine. Get it in your mind.
Yup.
That's too much money.
All right, one, I'm gonna immediately shoot you with what I've dealt with. I was tired enough that when buying this, I got the digital deluxe. I know, it's fucking
I
nuts.
almost bought that. and not by accident. I was like, well, it has costumes. If I'm gonna play the Fairy Tale game, I might as well have all the costumes he designed.
You know, $75 for this game might be a bit steep.
Yeah, that's approaching the budget of the game.
Yes. Granted, I think Digital Deluxe gives you the Grand Magic Games Team Fairy Tale outfit, which I used for most of the game, so I guess it's fine. Like I like that outfit. I went oh no almost immediately as this game began. One, it confused me because when you boot the game for the first time, before anything else is like, you want to play it on easy? I was like, oh, what? I haven't even seen a logo yet. What's up?
I think that might be a new Sony thing, because I think Ghost does that too. Like, do you want to play on low intensity mode? I genuinely wonder if that's like a new compliance thing where it's like, if you have easy mode, you have to offer it to them at the start.
Yeah, and then I didn't look into basically anything about this game. I'm like, I'll probably play it. I'll wait. So that you jump in, you start. This might be the worst introduction to any piece of media that a licensed thing has ever gotten.
Yeah.
I struggled to think of an anime game that has done this worse, where they start in, I believe, the 13th arc of the manga at the very end of it.
Let's see. Should I count all the little bullshit at the very start as arcs?
I think that's how people hit like 13.
Okay, I'm gonna look up Fairy Tale arcs on their wiki.
This will illustrate our problem, ladies and gentlemen.
1.
Oh no.
2.
Yeah.
3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. This is a filler arc, but I'll count it. Sure. 10. 11. The 12th arc. 11th if we don't count the filler arc.
Yeah, they decided what they need. They wanted to have a cool intro where you're fighting the final boss of Grimoire Heart in the Tenro Island arc, Hades, in what I can only describe as the most uneventful set of intro battles ever.
Yeah, the no money shows itself right away.
Yeah, just immediately it's like, oh, I got excited at first because I'm like, I remember enjoying this part. Like, because in the show, he just starts shooting things with finger guns. He's just crazy 150-year-old man.
Yeah, his bad armor got knocked off, so he looks raw now.
Yes. And then the immediate problem this game immediately rears its head, where they go, all right, we need to stick 100% to the script of the anime, which means this is the part that where Loxus shows up, and everyone's like, yeah, it's him. And they make no effort to explain him, his connection to this group, the connections for anyone, for anything. And then they just continue.
Yeah, see, they have that stupid fucking mechanic where they cut to Lucy's journal.
Yes.
And she narrates. It would have been real easy to, Laxus shows up, cut to journal, explain who he is. Try at all.
Maybe just an intro that starts in the journal and then takes and gives us background of what are they doing on this island? What's going on with any of it? And then go into the fight.
Yeah. Normally, like, even the most pathetic adaptations tell you everything and don't start you in the most confusing place they could start you.
Yeah, and then you go through this fight. It's perfectly standard, perfectly normal. He gets taken out, and then they go for the last chunk where they start throwing characters everywhere. They're like, "Look, that's Acnologia. That's a big dragon. Oh man, Loxus is holding his grandfather's hand. You don't know why that's important at all.
You don't know they're related."
Kana starts talking about her secret dad, and you're like, this character does nothing in this game, so I don't know why they mentioned it at all.
Don't worry, he does stuff in the epilogue. You can do stuff with him, I think.
Oh, good. In the epilogue, that's great, man. That's wonderful. They basically wanted to start this game, presumably at this point, because it makes your guild the underdogs, because you go through a time skip after this, known as the worst time skip in all of anime.
It is literally a time skip because, okay, if you don't watch Fairy Tail,
yes,
the way the characters are introduced, Natsu, the protagonist, he's like presented as kind of a strong guy, but like not super duper strong. Like if you're ranking characters on like a scale of like D to S, he's implied to be like a high C or a B at the start of the series.
Yeah,
and then Mashima shoves a rocket up his ass.
Yes.
And he flies up the power chart. And inexplicably, like, it feels like Mashima's like, we can't do the Dragon Ball thing, where only the protagonist can do anything. So everybody around him just gets stronger at the exact same rate, so all the power rankings of the main character cast never change the entire series.
Yes, actually.
It doesn't matter how strong Natsu gets, he is still going to be weaker than Erza and Laxus forever.
Yes.
No, even if he beats up someone they lost against, he is still weaker than them somehow.
That part is funny, but I guess preferred in the fact that I guess other characters will get fights. It never feels like it's becoming the Goku show or the Natsu show, effectively.
So the problem was that by the time the opening of this game happens, they have defeated the Guild Fairy Tail has defeated 15 Ultra Chads who threaten the entire world order. So Mashima went, how do I keep writing this? How can anybody compete with them? I guess I'll freeze time for them for 7 years.
Yeah, so a giant super Chad dragon shows up and is gonna nuke them.
The Jiren shows up. The Jiren of Fairy Tail.
The Jiren of Fairy Tail, Acnologia, shows up, is going to attack them. So they hold their hands and then ultimately activate the Fairy Sphere spell that puts them in a dome for 7 years, and then the entire world catches up with them power scaling wise. Also, they were gone for 7 years, so their guild is basically back at 0.
Yeah.
Which makes the premise of the game, you build up through the ranks and you get to be an underdog again. And
you start off in the shitty guild building instead of the nice one, because it got literally foreclosed on.
Yes. Because the only people that were left in the guild while you were gone were all the losers.
Yeah, all the ones who can't achieve anything.
Yes, they're just fun little side characters, like the Native American guy who just looks at the request board and does nothing. He's not in this game, but I think he's funny.
You know who else isn't in this game? Basically everyone.
Yeah, immediately it's Loxus's 3 henchmen, the Thunder
Tribe. The Raijin, gone.
Yeah, they're not even in the arc they were introduced in. They just deleted them.
They're not mentioned even.
Yeah, that's weird, because you know Hiro Mashima could have drawn a portrait that doesn't talk.
Yeah, there's so many characters that do not have models. This is another one of the big cheap things. If you don't get to play as them at some point, and they're not a boss fight, you don't get a model. So you're constantly you constantly have conversations with characters standing off camera, represented by a portrait next to a dialogue box.
And this started becoming a bit of a problem, jumping ahead, in the Grand Magic Games arc, which dominates a large portion of this game's main story.
It's the majority of the game.
Yeah, the majority of the game is adapting that arc. And there's a background plot happening that is very much focused on the princess, as well as 2 higher ups in the kingdom. None of them have models. They just have voices. I forget if even the second guy has a voice or not. But regardless, they have to just cut to scenery and the insides of empty rooms for them, and I'm like, this is the worst. These characters are important to the setup and plot of this arc. What are they gonna do? And then I'm like, oh, they're just gonna start using PNGs from the show.
They do that multiple times. It's really bad, because they're not even HD. They didn't even go get the Blu-rays.
They got the stream from Funimation or some shit. I have no idea why they look this bad.
It looks like standard definition. It looks like what aired on. It looks like they got a VHS tape.
Yes, it's very much SD, and that was also the point where the Fairy Tail anime came back. And they switched support studios, so the show started looking a little bit worse for the second season of 3 that they did of that. And I'm like, this ain't good, because they made anime art for the flashback journal stuff that looks high quality. So when they cut to these, it looks worse.
Yeah, there's also just CGs, visual novel style CGs that look new and are high res.
Clearly made for this game, as opposed to these. And Naruto did the same thing. The most recent Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm game did the thing of, we're telling you the story through anime PNGs, but those still looked better than these.
Yeah, I imagine this is really dire.
Yeah. But to roll back basic game stuff, turn-based RPG. You eventually get up to 5 party members. It's more of a grid-based combat system.
It's a 3x3 combat system.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, because you can just mulch everything.
Yeah, you can pretty much mulch everything, but it comes down to your strategy is, I have a set of attacks. Each one has a different
shape,
a different part of the 3x3 grid that it can actually attack with. And what I found was, if I'm playing as say Natsu, The only thing I have to do is just pick the move that gives him counter, which then means if I press circle when the enemy attacks me, I get to basically attack twice per turn.
Yeah.
And that seemed like if a character has counter state in this, you probably should just pick that every time.
Yeah. Until you just get to the point where you can just hit the auto battle and just walk away.
I think some things that helped this game a lot are some quality of life. They know people are just going to grind this game out type of stuff. Like anywhere you can just hit up on the D-pad and fast travel to any location.
That's straight from the Atelier games
that
the developers Gust made.
You can click in one of the sticks to turn off battle animations, which, boy, did that get used on anything by the end that was not a boss fight.
The Atelier games do not have that, but also it doesn't have 15-second long attack animations like this game does. Because they do recreate the moves. You get basically every single move any character has ever done, and they did animate them all. So maybe that's where what little money they had went.
That is the impressive part of the entire game, is that I feel like the animations are pretty solid. Where I'm like, oh, I know this move. I like this. I feel like this is the part where they actually went there. Like, one of Gray's endgame attacks is like 25 seconds long.
Yeah, there's some really long ones.
One he gets from Silver, which I'm like, God, they're just going. Which I'm like, that's fine, except for Lucy's like ultimate attack that she got really early on in the show with the orbs, because that's a minute long or some shit.
You also get combo attacks when you're doing your big super ultimate move that uses the big meter in the lower right corner.
Yes.
You get the ability to, it's basically just hit a button for light, medium, or heavy, and each character does a big move in combo, and eventually, if you upgrade everything, you can get up to 15.
Yeah, and then of course you end up unlocking the team attacks, like
unison raids.
Yeah.
There are unique ones, and some of those are a minute long.
Yeah, they're like, these characters are important, have an important connection to each other, so it's going to be much more lavish.
But you won't have those until like the epilogue. It's so weird.
Yeah. This is one of the main problems here, is that they adapted 2 arcs that use the least amount of locations ever. So you end up going through the main game, and you get like 6 or 7 places to go to. And then you do the epilogue, and by that you have like 15 locations or some shit. It's like the location list. It feels like it doubles.
There are 8 non-town locations.
Okay.
There's the forest, the plains, the mountain, the beach, the island, the bigger mountain, the bigger forest, the spooky forest.
Oh no!
And the highway. So there's 9. There's 9. I looked this up for comparison. I looked up how many areas were in Atelier Aisha. That was I think 7 years ago. No, 8 years ago. I think it was 2012. I'm gonna make sure right now. Yeah, 2012. That game has 45 areas. Some of them have multiple areas within them. It also has 3 towns, and this game only has 2. You go to 2 additional towns in the epilogue for one scene and then can never go back.
That fucking killed me. When I ended up in a new town, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I started getting a bit higher on the game after I hit the epilogue, and I was like, yeah, this seems like some stuff they actually wanted to do, or they just cut out the final arc, because this does not cover the rest of the manga. It does all but the last one.
It really feels like that epilogue is just, we're going to do everything in the second half, everything after the time skip. Then they looked at the budget they were given and went, I guess we're fucking not.
Yeah, because
So they do all the setup for the last arc.
They do.
And then instead of the last arc happening, you just stop.
When they have to change, it was like, where did Makarov go after the game finished? And he's like, I was just hanging out. I was not going to another country.
I did not go to another country to negotiate.
I did not do that. We're not doing this, the secret empire of Ultra Chads. We're not doing that. This covers two big arcs, basically. Grand Magic Games, which is somehow two arcs in one, and the Tartarus arc, which is I mean, if you're gonna end with one, that this one has its own like evil lair and some climactic stuff happens in it.
But it sets up so strongly for the last arc that it's insane to end with this. Because it's like a big strong guy, and he's like the king of demons, so it feels very final bossy. But then it's like, Acnologia and Igneal are fighting above you, and they're talking about End the super demon. None of that shit's resolved because it's all in the last arc.
Yeah, they really just... So, one thing that's interesting to talk about with this game is that when you put out an anime game, your core audience that's going to buy this is going to be like, I want to see the stuff that I read in the manga or watched in the anime, but it's a video game. Oh my god. I heard some stuff about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot where I'm like, oh, they cut that? I liked that part. Come on. This is another fucking level. Where I had like a list of cool shit I wanted to see. I don't think any of it got used at all.
Yeah, there's no cool visual thing. There's literally none.
There's a moment in the Grand Magic games where you have Loxus, who gets excommunicated by the main characters and the guild because he's like a villain for an arc.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he comes back, he redeems himself, and then there's this moment where he has to face his dad's evil guild.
Raventail.
Yeah, Raventail. And the whole thing is that the dude creates like this illusion world where it looks like that he's beating up his son to everyone watching the tournament, but really it's his entire team in another dimension fighting him. And then Loxus owns all of them. And here, because of the lack of money, they've only shown his dad, Flair, which is one of the members, and the other three were just cut entirely.
His dad also does not have a model. He's a side character ghost.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's also a side character ghost, so you just see him getting punched off screen.
Yeah, Loxus jumps forward and punches, and his fist goes off screen, conveniently hiding who he's punching.
It's the worst, because I remember loving that moment of just him mulching an entire fucking team. And then that just doesn't get shown at all. Just the fact that so many teams are just like, it's like two people. These are teams of 5, but we're only picking the plot critical ones.
Also, multiple teams were cut entirely.
Yes. I'm trying to remember what the name of the dipshit team is. I'm trying to pull it up here.
Quattro So Cerberus.
Yes, where it's just a team of dog-related people and a dude who just uses Drunken Fist, who has a really cool fight with Elfman,
who is also not playable in the game.
He is not playable, but he eventually becomes a summon for one
No,
fight.
Don't worry, KZ. Don't worry, KZ. He will be playable in 3 days.
What? No.
They're doing free DLC. He's gonna be playable, and his sister Lasagna, who is terrible.
Why is she terrible?
Because her power sucks and she never does anything.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't know when else to mention this. Thinking of her made me remember. Fairy Tail, reputation for being a relatively fan servicey manga. Characters have their clothes shredded off fairly often.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Erisa finishes most of her fights naked. They made every single character's tits bigger. Every single one. A lot bigger. When I saw Lucy, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like 2 cup sizes.
Yeah, they did it to everyone, which made it even more insane.
Also, they also cut Team Twilight Ogre.
I don't know, were they just bad? Were they evil? I don't remember them.
I can't remember either.
I see their names in the rankings, so I remember. Yeah, I don't remember. I think they were like some dipshit team, so it was fine.
Yeah, they were a dipshit team, but still, it's like
Yeah, it's still, I come to these games for fan service for the thing I watch, so I kind of want as much of that as possible. They didn't have important characters like dude with large eyebrows. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he's a part of the team that Leon is on, where they only gave us 2 of those characters.
Yeah, they cut the rock guy.
Oh yeah, they did.
Who's like supposed to be super strong that Laxus fights. Laxus beats up his ghost.
Yeah, Jura, which I also liked quite a bit. Probably one of the more disappointing parts is like, all right, we're doing the finals of this tournament. Laxus is going to barely eke out a win against Rock Guy and Sabretooth's Lightning God guy, who's just not in the game at all.
Yeah. Sabretooth gets off a little better because they get 4 out of 6 characters modeled.
Yeah, because as it turns out, they used everyone that is plot important. That guy was just, he was just filling out the ranks. So they were able to just easily cut him.
Choosing to adapt this arc is really bizarre.
Yeah,
because the way the grand magic games work in the manga and the anime is every day has 2 events. One's just a fight. That's the second event every day.
Mm-hmm.
The other is some bullshit.
Yeah, it's some cool thing they got to do, like a gigantic super maze that's kind of like the inside of the Millennium Puzzle in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like you're playing. There's a bunch.
One of them's Blitzball.
There's a bunch of duplicates in like this replica of a couple city blocks. Everybody participating. There's like tons of clones. You have to tag the other person and not tag any of the clones. All that shit was cut. Every single thing in this game that couldn't be easily replicated as a RPG battle was cut, which makes me wonder why they did these arcs at all. Because these 2 arcs are also like the least RPG like of the arcs in this game and in this series.
Yeah, Tartarus is the one part where it's like, okay, part of this works of you're going in an evil lair and fighting bosses. But the rest of this just doesn't work.
There's like the Phantom Lord arc where it's literally beat the 4 RPG bosses to stop the giant robot.
Yeah, the giant robot that has a giant magic circle that's ticking down to shoot a cannon at your house, where they just ripped off Donkey Kong 64.
And then there's the tower arc where they're going through an RPG dungeon. And then the whatever the fuck the one with Oration Cesse.
Yeah.
Which is also beat the RPG bosses to stop the giant robot.
Yeah, there's a lot of giant robots. I was gonna even say the alternate world where it ends with them summoning a giant dragon robot. Yeah, I was thinking about like how you would craft a better fairy tale video game in this format. I'm like, just do the first 4 arcs. Just go up to like go up to the end of that festival arc where you fight Laxus, because it ends with like a festival where everyone's celebrating, and that's a good like way to bookend that chunk of the story. Because this just feels like fucking this 30% portion only bad and scorched earth, so we can never go back to it.
Or just they'll go back to it for sure if they feel like it. They just won't address the weird epilogue.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, you know, I went to check if this motherfucker lived.
Who?
Let me look it up. What is it? There's a character in the last arc called Nineheart.
Oh, that's the corpse guy, right?
It's not corpses, but he has magic where he can bring somebody back to life based on other people's memories. And he's alive at the end of the month. He's a villain and he gets fucking owned.
Yeah.
He's alive at the end. He's just in jail. Just do an original story with him as one of the antagonists, and you can have them fight whoever the fuck you want.
Yeah, they could have just said whatever. It takes place after the main story of the manga, ended. Here's a fun adventure that we could do. But they were too loyal to the piece of source material they were going for, but they couldn't afford to do any of the parts you want.
Yeah, I do wonder. I'm really curious on like the deal. I wonder how much of this was like mandated by the IP holder. because Hiro Mashima did mention being closely involved.
Oh yeah, because there was a filler arc in the anime right after the Tenro Island arc, right after the time skip, where they go to a different kingdom, and it's supposed to be like you see the characters that were from the alternate universe, but you get to see the real world version of them. And Horacion Sace comes back for some reason, and he just wrote all of it, and then just put it in the manga saying, "Yeah, that happened." So I'm not shocked that he like is involved with as much of his stuff as possible, because he's kind of insane.
This game has less money than any Atelier game. Like I said earlier,
I don't think I've played anything so low budget before that I can remember.
45 areas versus 9.
I think one of the high points that I wanted to see in this game, I can't tell if it's in the game or not. So there's the part in the Tartarus part of the plot in which Wendy has to fight that big guy to stop the face, and then she activates Dragon Force, which I found to be one of my favorite parts of the story, because she's a dipshit that doesn't do anything right for when she's introduced, and then she gets a cool Chad transformation. Like her hair turns pink and she starts getting all the dragon features. They make her glow pink. That's it. And I was super bummed out when that happened. Watch the credits. It's there. They show the transformation in the credits. It was cut, I think.
You can use Dragon Force in the game and she doesn't fucking turn pink. So I don't think they made a model. Was it like a model?
It was a model. Like her eyes turned to the same way that it looked. I saw like the parts added to like her arms. If you like look at the credits, clearly they made some form of a new model to reflect her transformation, and it didn't make it into the final game. And I'm like, I have never encountered something this.
Oh no, I guess they did. I guess they did make it, because I'm looking at a video and she does it.
Yes,
but it's not in the credits though. It's in the it's an actual gameplay, I think. Yeah.
That's weird, because for me, it just showed her with a normal glow, so I was expecting, throughout the gameplay for her to actually, like, be like that.
Yeah, she has a glow, but her hair is, like, up, and it looks kind of pink.
Hey, everybody, this is an editor's note by me, KZ. I tried to do more research as to why the Dragon Force did not exist at all when I played. As it turns out, it is limited to the default costume and color for her character. So if you're like me and changed Wendy's costume, or like feel and changed to the alternate color, it just straight up will not give you the Dragon Force look. They only made the model for one type and included options. So we thought the game had less money than they did, but I guess they have less money. I just wanted to correct that, because this is insane and I've never seen anything like it. You couldn't take it a little bit of extra time, but the priorities apparently are making sure that Elfman's playable. I don't think anyone's clamoring for either of those two to be added in free DLC.
Yeah, not really. Like, I think they
if I remember right, they only brought back Lisana because someone who worked on the anime told Hiro Mashima, "Could you please do that?"
I didn't hear that. I recalled that the anime specifically left what happened vague because they suspected she'd come back.
I've heard like back and forth stuff, so I wasn't too sure. But I saw a lot of people just going, the anime influenced him a little bit.
But she's so bad. She's like, your brother turns into a monster and your sister turns into a demon. What do? I get cat ears and paw gloves.
That's a good takeover skill. Phil, why is this final boss so bad?
I don't know.
Why do I fight Mardgeir, which is the leader of Tartarus, 6 times?
I don't know.
It just kept going. I'm like, what is this, Nyx? Like, it's fighting him for over a half hour. And some of these phases are just nothing.
I'm gonna be real. I was like level 85.
Oh my
god. So I kind of just ripped him into little pieces really fast.
Oh, I was playing it, like I looked up, I asked someone, was like, well, what level were you when you finished? 47, and I came in at 50, and it was still taking a while. And you get, because for people who haven't played the game, which I assume is a lot, boss fights in this are, you fight a boss, but then you start to learn that you have to fight bosses more than once. They'll just play a cutscene after you finish and then make you do it again.
Yeah, they do, because it's like on the phases.
Yeah, they'll put a final on their life bar at the top to let you know that this is the last one, so unload on this one. And you had to fight like 4 times before that finally appeared. Because they're like, okay, fight him in his human form 3 times. Now fight his cool ethereous form 2 times. And in the last phase, he'll use a move that gives everyone a bad status effect so they actually can't move. At one point, 4 of my 5 party members were hit with it, so it just skipped their turns. I didn't die, but I came close.
Oh no, I'm sorry, KZ, I was wrong. It's paid DLC. It's not free. They're also putting in a Lion and Levi as paid DLC characters. You get photo mode for free, though.
Feel?
Yeah.
I'm struggling. They are picking some of the most worthless DLC picks. Levy?
They had these models already, KZ. They had the models already. The next one will be Kana.
God, they're really bad choices. They're so bad. Give me Dogman with sock necklace. How about that guy?
At least photo mode looks like you have every possible animation and can have like up to 6 or 7 characters in a frame at a time.
Yeah.
Because the example they give is pretty good. I'll just DM you that.
Okay. Yeah. Give me the stuff. Yeah, it's real good. You know, the one light of my life was the fact that they did make sure to put in Ichiya Vandalay Kotobuki into this game. This wonderful, wonderful guy who just says men a lot.
Yeah.
And tries to sexually assault Erza.
Yeah.
Calling her my honey in English. Voiced by Sosuke Aizen from Bleach, which made it even better.
And also, there's 3 costume sets that come out on Thursday, which this thing will probably be out before then. So get ready if you bought it. The anime final season, variety, and special swimsuit costumes.
I mean, final season would probably be all right. Get those.
Yeah, it's wow. It's almost like they intended for that to be in the game.
They had no idea how to animate anything related to Brandish, the woman who makes things really big, small.
Yeah, probably not.
They didn't know how to do that.
Well, they just cut to anime screen caps on narration, KZ. They solved this problem. Remember when Gajeel fights a guy underwater and they're like, no, he fucking doesn't. Narration and anime screen cap.
I also really liked that fight as well, and it just wasn't there at all.
Yeah, the villains of the final arc are the 9 demon gates of Tartaros. They modeled 5 of them.
It's okay. They showed some of them in anime screenshots.
One of them has an alternate form because he gets owned and then comes back and has a different body. They only modeled the second body.
They do sure do quite a bit. I'm gonna be honest. I'm shocked they even gave Lucy an Aquarius mode separate model. I was shocked that she even had that for that fight.
Well, she has models for all the costumes all the form changes she has in the last arc too, cause they're costumes for a girl.
And they're like, we're probably gonna adapt that part of the story too, right? So it makes sense we need to get all these done. Yeah, so many things were just summaries, like they passed through things as quickly as possible. All the cool parts weren't here. The conclusion of this game is Igneel and Aknologia fighting. He's the big dragons. Aknologia is the big Jiren dragon. And in the series, it's really cool where it's like, Igneel dies, but he takes Aknologia's arm off and it makes him leave. They didn't do that, so it just looks like he gets owned really bad, and then Aknologia just stops giving a shit. And then just leaves. For seemingly no reason.
They just you've already opened the using anime screen caps door. Just use a fucking anime screen cap. Be even more shameless and just use a clip.
Clip, please.
This game also has weird polish things. Like the really big one that is a fucking blight It bothered me multiple times through this game. Is in an Atelier game, you have the teleport button.
Yeah.
Whenever you travel back to town, it goes directly to your base because they go. Well, where the hell else would you want to go first? You're gonna go to your base, and it actually there's more. In Fairy Tail, you start at the entrance to the town. This is really stupid because in the Atelier series, there are shops. Mm-hmm. So there's actually more of an excuse for them not to put you in their base, but they still do. And Fairy Tail, which has nothing outside of your base, there is no value outside your base.
Only one thing, and it's sometimes NPCs have collection quests for you to do, but sometimes they don't. So sometimes you just go in and you're like, guess I'm walking for 40 seconds. Even longer in the early part of the game where they put your guild in a separate loading screen.
Oh, I just teleport. If you press down on the D-pad, you can teleport inside towns.
Jesus, I'm gonna fucking blow.
Did you not know that?
No, of course I didn't fucking know that. God damn, I hit it now. Now I want to blow my brains out. I played this whole fucking game.
They had a tutorial box telling you that, KZ. I really can't help you there. I'm sorry.
Whatever, you can help me. You're also a part of the group that doesn't read.
You're right. If I hadn't played so many Atelier games, I probably would have fucked too. Another polish thing. Most Atelier games, not all, most, you get to pick what entrance you come in on in an area if you've been through an entrance. So let's say you're like in a big map and there's three loading gates to leave. Once you've gone through one, you can start at that one. Not in Fairy Tail. So multiple times it's like, I have to go through a maze to get to this objective, which is right near the other exit. This is a highway. Just let me start from the other side.
That quest will require you to, say, leave the town. But they only mark the quest marker on one exit of, even though all the exits go to the same place. They go to the world map.
Just teleport. Never travel yourself. Just fucking teleport.
Well, in the time where I didn't know about the teleport because I'm illiterate, I was like, why? Why is it just that one? I didn't go to that one. I went to other ones because I was smart enough to go, like, this is probably not done. Which it's not.
This was another thing that frustrated me immensely.
Uh-huh.
Eventually you get the ability to hold the L1 button and fight a bunch of enemies at once.
Yeah, it's like Link Battle or something like that.
One is I thought it would function like it would in a sane video game. Where it's just like, okay, because Atelier Ryza has something like this where you can chain fights and if like 4 enemies are together on the map, you can fight them all one after another, boom, 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 without loading in between.
Yeah, it's like Persona also has that sometimes where you like run into an enemy that's really close, so then it's like, oh man, these found you, and then they immediately cut in.
So I thought it would be that, and it's not. It's just a totally different group of enemies, which is dumb, but that's not what bothered me. What bothered me is those enemies don't count for requests to kill specific enemies. It can be a cloud of 30 birds that you need to kill. It's like, no, the birds only... We'd like you to kill these birds alone.
I want you to fight them with Lucy alone.
Does do that a little bit.
There are some quests where you'll go, and the basic like gameplay loop is you'll like do side quests by going to the request board. They have different ranks, and as you do more things in the game, like building up your guild's stuff, upgrading things, completing quests, you'll rank up and get access to higher tiered requests and other goals. This has enough RPG systems that I'm like, this is solid, and it kept my brain engaged through the, I don't know, like 20 hours that this game takes to finish.
That's what Gust is good at. Gust is really good at making your brain constantly release serotonin.
Yeah, there was constantly things to do, because you can upgrade multiple different compartments of the guild. So it's like you can upgrade the request board or your stage or your lacrima laboratory, which is like your equipment in this game. And then you can upgrade them with remodeling up to like 10 times. And it'll do stuff like you get more money for requests, your HP goes up, your limit break equivalent fills faster. So there's a lot of that I enjoy.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. It gives you a lot of stuff to upgrade. It feels good in your brain.
It feels like it would be more suited in a video game that has a bunch of really small arcs and a lot of side quests instead of some side quests, a giant tournament arc that transitions into the second part of that, and then 800 side quests and party member optional things, and then a final chunk.
Here's what okay, the party member thing makes me remember something that almost made me fucking black out. Characters have bond levels up to 3. And they're like 2 or 3 sentence long. They're like 2 or 3 sentence long scenes. They're basically fucking nothing.
Yes.
And you talk to the character with a specific character as your front man, and you get a little scene. Some they didn't bother writing anything for. So you talk to them and it immediately cuts to like bond increased.
So there's not a thing at all. There's not a thing at all.
There is nothing. I'm like, oh, I can rank up Windy and Sting. I don't think they ever really interacted.
And they're like, you're right.
Sure. But you're like, but sure, hard cut.
You know, I get it. They're like,
3
whatever.
Fucking sentences, write something.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I'm being understanding, which I really shouldn't. Also, to surprise no one, there is no dub.
Yeah, there's no dub. There's no fucking dub. Here's another thing that almost made me black out.
What?
There are various side quests. Some of them are actual side quests. But there's 10 at each rank, which is just kill these monsters in this place. I was like, why can't I take multiples of these at once?
That was driving me up a wall.
When I blacked out when I realized, oh, you only made 9 areas for the entire game and there's only 10 enemy models, so multiple of these quests are to kill the exact same monsters in the exact same amounts. So that's why you can't stack them. I
came toward this game optimistic, and then things like that hit me. I posted a clip on launch day of an enemy got initiative on me when I was playing as Gray and Juvia, and it just opened with them immediately hitting me and killing me, and I just had to hit restart for 3 minutes straight until they finally just kept hitting Juvia instead. So I was allowed to take a turn.
That was like one of the level 50 ones floating around in the first area, right?
No, I just got hit by an enemy when I was at low health.
Oh!
Yeah, so they just kept walking in, punching him in the face.
I expected this game to have a little bit more money than an Atelier game, and it has like a third as much.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
And honestly, I look at footage of Atelier Ryza 2, where they added underwater exploration and like a grappling hook and verticality. I'm like, did you fucking play them? Did you play them for fools? Did you just steal all the fucking money?
Yeah, I'm starting to think there's some fucking some dealing, some trickery.
Cause it's like it looks like a video game.
You said a lot of things that I tried to imagine would be in this game, and it's just Lucy T poses up a tree with
I'm gonna show you the trailer. Show you the fucking trailer. Like, imagine any of this shit in this game.
All right, so as this is going on, I've got this trailer's running, and oh my, this game visually looks so much wow. Wow, they've already passed the amount of areas that Fairy Tail had in a 15-second sizzle reel.
Yeah, Atelier games have a shitload of areas.
Yeah, there's a multiple enemy and character type. That's just crazy. God, those thighs. Chill out, guys.
The character designer said he spent 8 hours a day working on them.
No wonder people are starting to pay attention to these games now.
Oh yeah. By the way, the Switch version of Atelier Ryza looks better than the PS4 version of Fairy Tail. I think they just made a Switch version assets and then didn't do anything. I imagine those games are probably identical, except the Switch version, I'm sure, chugs much more when you're beating up 70,000 enemies at once.
Yeah, the frame rate dies even on PS4 Pro when you do stuff like over damage, where they're like, this place is blocked, it's got a chest, enter a battle and do 30,000 damage.
That's a repurposed Atelier mechanic, but it makes much more fucking sense in Atelier because it's like, there's a really big rock blocking this road to a new area. If you can make a bomb this good, you can blow it up and then go to this optional area, which has good materials.
Here it's go to another fight and grind out super meter and then use it on this area.
Well, I think it's time to start wrapping this up because the timer says 55 minutes.
You're right. We need to make this under an hour. I was trying to think. There's just my overall thoughts are I'm pretty disappointed in the fact that every cool thing I would have wanted in this game is not in this game at all, or is just it's rough. The amount of characters that don't talk or are cut entirely. I was impressed
or are ghosts.
I was impressed that one of the ghost characters that has no model and no voice, they made a shadow to illustrate that they were being stabbed off camera. I was impressed they even could make one of those.
Okay, is any of the music from the anime? Because it all feels like just Gust music. Okay, so the good music is something.
Yes, Gust did a good job with the music here, though. I wish they just said, give them the main theme of Fairy Tail. Like, come on.
I like the main theme Gust made. It's pretty raw.
Yeah, that one's still solid, though. I feel like they have only 7 songs in the soundtrack because I heard the same one over and over again.
That's the big thing. This game is just no fucking money. No money on everything.
Yeah.
The fact the only thing even sort of holding it up is that it was built on mechanics that Gust had already iterated 15 times. Like its broken skeleton is a very good skeleton.
It has the energy of if I played Trails of Cold Steel, but that game had to be 6 hours long. So the pacing has to feel schizophrenic, but all the fights look bad.
Still has better. This game still has better cutscene fights than Trails of Cold Steel.
Having played that one and some of 2 recently, I agree. All right, so Phil, what's your score? I'm gonna need you to rate this 1 to 10.
No, we're rating this 1 to 20.
1 out of 20. You're right. We get more points because this needs to seemingly match other games. What are you gonna give it?
I'm gonna give this an 11, purely on the grounds of the stuff that, my brain is releasing dopamine every few moments because I'm constantly making numbers go up, and because there's rare moments where the music is really good and it seems sick. But this is really aggressively cheap. I had expected this, if this was at the level I had expected. Let's say expect, not wanted. Because obviously you want the fucking moon.
Yeah.
But if it was at the level I expected, I'd have probably given this a 15. But it's just so cheap. 11.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same spot. I'd probably also give it an 11 because it's in that average range where the game functions. It's fine. It just hurts more because I'm a fan of the actual series that the parts I like are not done justice at all. So many of the plot things are made quick, boring summaries or cliff notes that I've seen people who have not engaged with this series before not understand what's going on.
Twitter.com/Invignon.
Yeah, make sure to follow. It's been rough, and I'll stick with 11, which gives this the official GigaBoots Podcast Network score of 22. That means 6 points above The Last of Us Part 2.
I'm comfortable with that.
3 points above A Days Gone, and that's it.
I think Erza could beat Abby even if she was blind, deaf, couldn't smell, lost her sense of touch, was naked and had her pain receptors altered so a breeze feels like being stabbed, she'd still beat Abby because she's Ursa.
It'd be the only time in Fairy Tail where I'd accept Erza winning in one hit.
This month's GigaBoots videos have erupted into reality thanks to the money magic of our executive producers. Esme, Nicholas Cameron, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Danny Richardson, Red Blaze 27, They Podlord Now, and local himbo Adam Admar. Thank you very much to our executive producers.
And also these guys.
If you want to become powerful like our executive producers, you can head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.